The rain poured mercilessly over the empty highway as headlights cut through the storm. Ava clutched her daughter tighter, the little girl shivering in her arms. Her old car had finally given up, steam rising from under the hood. She was stranded in the middle of nowhere, alone, scared, and desperate. It had been a long day. She'd just been fired from her second job, and rent was overdue. Her daughter, Lily, coughed softly in her arms, a reminder of the fever that refused to go away. Ava's phone battery blinked its last red light. She tried flagging down passing cars, but no one stopped, until a sleek black Rolls-Royce came to a sudden halt beside her. The tinted window lowered, revealing a man in a perfectly tailored suit. His jaw was sharp, his eyes cold and unreadable. He looked at her in silence for a few seconds, then spoke in a low, commanding tone. "Get in the car." Ava froze. Every instinct screamed caution. I can't just get in with a stranger," she stammered, stepping back protectively around Lily. But the man didn't move, didn't argue. He just looked at her, then at Lily, before quietly saying, "Your daughter doesn't have much time. There's a hospital 20 minutes away. Get in, now." Something in his tone, calm, firm, and oddly familiar, made her heart pound. Without another word, she got in the back seat. The warmth of the car and the faint scent of cedarwood surrounded her as they sped into the storm. The man's driver didn't speak. The CEO sat beside her, typing something on his phone. Ava held Lily's hand, her eyes filling with tears. "Thank you," she whispered. "You didn't have to stop." He said nothing. Only when they reached the hospital did he finally speak again, ordering the doctors with precision, ensuring Lily was rushed to the emergency room. Ava didn't know how he knew what to say or who to call, but within minutes, her daughter was being treated by the city's best pediatrician. When it was all over, Ava found him in the hallway, still silent, watching through the glass as doctors worked. "Why did you help us?" she asked softly. He turned to her, his expression unreadable. "Because someone once didn't help me," he replied. His words hit her like thunder. Over the next few days, Ava discovered who he was, Damien Hale, the CEO of one of the largest corporations in the country. A billionaire known for his ruthless business sense and his refusal to trust anyone. Yet here he was, quietly paying her daughter's hospital bills, refusing any thanks. "Why me?" she asked one night. He didn't look at her, his eyes focused on the window. "Because your daughter reminded me of mine," he said, his voice barely audible. That's when Ava noticed the photograph on his phone, a little girl, bright-eyed, smiling, the same age as Lily. "What happened to her?" she whispered. He exhaled shakily. "Car crash. 2 years ago. I was too busy to answer her call that night." The pain in his eyes said more than words ever could. Ava's heart softened. Beneath the armor of wealth and control, there was a man broken by guilt. Days turned into weeks. Lily recovered, and Ava found herself working in Damien's company as his personal assistant, a job he offered quietly, saying, "You need stability. Let me help." At first, she hesitated. But something in his tone wasn't charity, it was protection. And slowly, she learned that behind his silence was a heart that feared loss more than anything. He began showing up at the hospital checkups, bringing Lily gifts, a teddy bear, a pink notebook, even attending her school play one evening, sitting at the back unnoticed. Lily adored him. "Mommy, Mr. Damien smiles only when I'm around." She'd giggle. Ava smiled too, but deep down she knew, Damien wasn't just helping them. He was healing himself. Then one stormy night, history repeated itself. Ava was late leaving the office, and a shadowy figure followed her to the parking lot. Before she could react, a man grabbed her bag and threatened her. But before she could scream, headlights flashed, and a familiar voice echoed, "Get in the car." It was Damien, again. He had been following her, not out of control but protection. Within seconds, his guards surrounded the man. Ava trembled, realizing the truth. "You knew," she whispered. "You knew someone was after me." Damien nodded. "You've been targeted by a man your boss fired last year. I didn't want to scare you." Tears filled her eyes. "You've been watching over us." He didn't deny it. "I promised myself I'd never fail to protect again." The next morning, he brought Ava and Lily to a quiet seaside house. "Stay here for a few days," he said gently. "You'll be safe." As the sun set, Ava watched Lily laugh in the garden, chasing butterflies. Damien stood beside her, his hands in his pockets, the wind tugging at his suit. "You don't have to carry the past forever," Ava said softly. He turned to her. "And you don't have to face the future alone." Their eyes met, two broken souls who had found light in each other's darkness. Weeks later, when Damien officially announced his engagement at a press conference, reporters gasped to see Ava by his side, holding Lily's hand. He looked at her, not as a charity case, not as an employee, but as the woman who'd brought him back to life. In that moment, the silent CEO smiled, truly smiled, and said to the world, "Sometimes, fate doesn't give you what you lost, it gives you another chance to love." And as the crowd cheered, Ava knew, the night he told her to "get in the car" wasn't a command. It was destiny knocking softly on her door. Because sometimes, the coldest man in the world is just waiting for someone to warm his heart again. The ocean breeze whispered through the curtains as Ava stood on the balcony, gazing at the horizon. The sun painted the waves gold, and Lily's laughter drifted from the garden below. Damien was sitting on the porch steps, his suit jacket off, sleeves rolled up, watching Lily chase a butterfly. He wasn't the same man she met that stormy night. His silence now felt gentler, filled with something warmer, something like peace. Ava smiled softly. "She really likes you," she said, joining him with 2 mugs of tea. Damien looked up, his expression softening. "She reminds me that there's still innocence in the world," he said quietly. "It's easy to forget that when you spend years behind glass walls in boardrooms." "You don't seem like someone who forgets easily," she teased gently. He glanced at her, a hint of amusement touching his eyes. "Maybe I just needed someone to remind me." Their eyes met, and for the first time, Ava saw the man beneath the title. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, but the human being who carried a lifetime of guilt and loneliness. That night, after Lily fell asleep, they sat by the fireplace. Damien poured himself a drink, hesitated, then set it down untouched. "I used to drown myself in work," he began. "I thought success could fill the silence. But when my daughter died, everything I built felt worthless." Ava listened quietly. He wasn't looking at her. His gaze was lost in the flames. "Her name was Emma," he continued, his voice breaking. "She called me that night, said she wanted to show me the stars. I told her I was busy, and 10 minutes later, the crash happened." Ava reached out, her hand brushing his. "You couldn't have known," she whispered. He shook his head. "But I should have been there. A father should always be there." Tears welled in his eyes, the kind he hadn't let anyone see in years. Ava's heart ached. She placed her hand over his. "You saved my daughter's life, Damien. Maybe that was God's way of giving you a second chance." He looked up at her, and for a long moment, they just sat there, 2 souls scarred by life, finding comfort in silence. Days passed like gentle waves. Ava started working remotely for his foundation, managing charitable projects. Damien, though always surrounded by guards and meetings, began joining them for dinners, walks, and movie nights. Lily would run into his arms the moment he came home. "Mr. Damien, guess what? I got a star sticker today." He'd smile, a real smile, and lift her high. "You deserve a whole galaxy," he'd reply. Ava would watch from the doorway, her chest tightening with warmth. She hadn't seen Lily this happy in years. One evening, Damien came home early. "Pack a bag," he said. "Both of you." "Where are we going?" Ava asked, surprised. He smiled faintly. "Somewhere that reminds me what life used to feel like." They drove for hours, through the countryside until they reached a small cottage by a lake. The air smelled of pine and freedom. "This was my family's old vacation home," he explained softly. "I haven't been here since Emma." His voice trailed off. That night, they lit a small campfire outside. Lily roasted marshmallows while Damien strummed an old guitar he found inside. The sound was clumsy, but heartfelt. Ava joined in, singing softly, her voice trembling yet beautiful. As the fire crackled, Damien watched her. The wind played with her hair, and her laughter filled the air. For the first time in years, he felt alive. When Lily finally fell asleep under a blanket of stars, Damien spoke. "You've changed this place," he said quietly. Ava tilted her head. "How?" "It used to echo with ghosts. Now it feels like home again." Her heart fluttered. "You've changed too, Damien. You smile more now." He looked at her, eyes full of emotion. "That's your fault." She blushed. "I'll take the blame for that." He reached out, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "You and Lily, you've given me something I thought I lost forever." "And what's that?" she whispered. "Family. Dash dash dash." But fate wasn't done testing them yet. One morning, Damien received a call that shattered his calm. Someone from his company had leaked confidential data, an insider betrayal. The board was panicking, investors furious. "I have to go back to the city," he said, standing abruptly. "It's urgent." Ava nodded. "Go. We'll be fine." He hesitated, then pressed a key into her palm. "Lock the doors. Call me if anything feels off." He left in a rush, unaware that danger wasn't behind him, it was coming for her. That night, as Ava tucked Lily in, she noticed headlights outside the house. Her heart raced. She peeked through the curtain, and froze. A man was standing in the yard, his face hidden under a hood. Before she could call Damien, her phone buzzed, an unknown number. "Miss Ava," a cold voice hissed. "Your boss cost me everything. And now, I'll take something from him." Her blood ran cold. "Who are you?" But the line went dead. She grabbed Lily, locked the doors, and hid in the back room. Rain began to fall, thunder rolling outside. Every creak of the house made her flinch. Meanwhile, Damien, miles away in the boardroom, felt something in his gut twist. He couldn't focus. "Excuse me," he muttered, grabbing his phone. No answer. Ava's line was silent. "Sir," his assistant said nervously, "you're needed." "I need to go," Damien interrupted. Now. Within minutes, his car was tearing down the highway, rain pounding the windshield. He called his head of security. "Track her phone. Send a team, now." By the time he reached the cottage, the front door was shattered. He rushed inside, heart pounding. "Ava, Lily." A faint cry came from the back room. He followed the sound, kicked open the door. And there she was, Ava, shielding Lily with her body, eyes wide in fear. A masked man was standing over them, holding a knife. "Step away," Damien roared, his voice thunder. The intruder turned, and froze when Damien aimed his gun. Within seconds, his guards stormed in, tackling the man to the ground. Ava burst into tears, clutching Lily. Damien dropped the gun and rushed to them, pulling them into his arms. "You're safe. I've got you. You're safe now," he whispered over and over, his voice breaking. Lily buried her face in his chest. Mr. Damien, I was so scared. He held her tighter. Not anymore, sweetheart, not anymore. Later that night, when the police had taken the man away and the storm calmed, Damien sat beside Ava on the porch steps. You shouldn't have been alone, he said quietly. She looked at him, tears still glistening. You saved us again. He shook his head. No, I just couldn't lose another family. She turned toward him, her hand finding his. You won't. He looked at her, and for the first time, let the walls fall completely. Ava, I don't know how to live without you anymore. Her eyes softened. Then don't. He leaned forward, their foreheads touching, and the world around them fell silent. Months later, Damien Hale announced his resignation as CEO. The media exploded. Rumors, speculations, chaos. But when he stepped onto the stage for his farewell conference, Ava and Lily were in the front row. He looked at them and said, I once thought success was about power and control. But life taught me that true success is being there for the people who matter. I built an empire, but they built me back. The audience erupted in applause. Afterward, he walked down the stage, knelt beside Lily, and smiled. How about we build sandcastles now, instead of skyscrapers? Lily giggled. Only if mommy helps too. Ava laughed through tears. Deal. As they walked out together, hand in hand, Damien whispered to Ava, Do you remember the first thing I ever said to you? She smiled. Yes. You told me to get in the car. He grinned softly. Best decision of my life. 1 year later, the sun was rising over the quiet seaside town where Damien, Ava, and Lily now lived. The waves rolled gently, brushing the shore like whispered promises. The city life was far behind them, no flashing cameras, no board meetings, no headlines. Just peace, laughter, and the smell of pancakes from the kitchen. Mommy. Lily's voice rang through the house. Mr. Damien burned the pancakes again. Ava burst out laughing from the hallway. Again. Damien, you're supposed to flip them, not incinerate them. Damien appeared in the kitchen doorway, wearing an apron that said, World's okayest cook. His hair was messy, his expression defeated. I'm a CEO, Ava. Not a chef. You're retired, remember, she teased. You have to learn how to make breakfast if you want to survive with us. He smirked, taking her hand. I'll survive as long as you're here to teach me. Lily groaned dramatically. Ew, grown-up talk, she said, covering her eyes. Ava laughed and kissed Lily's forehead. Go get ready, sweetheart. We're going to the beach today. As Lily skipped away, Damien leaned against the counter. His eyes softened, tracing the sunlight falling across Ava's face. You know, he said quietly, I used to wake up to the sound of emails. Now I wake up to laughter. I like this better. Ava looked at him, her heart swelling. You've changed, Damien. He shook his head gently. No, you changed me. They spent the day at the beach, the same stretch of sand where they'd first come a year ago to escape danger. Now it was their home. Lily ran through the surf, chasing waves, while Damien and Ava sat on a blanket, the wind tugging playfully at her hair. Damien watched Lily for a long moment, then said softly, Do you ever think about how close we came to losing everything? Ava nodded. Every day. But I also think about how we found each other because of it. He turned to her, eyes full of quiet gratitude. You gave me back more than I lost. I don't wake up with guilt anymore. I wake up, wanting to live. Ava's hand found his. You deserve to live, Damien. And you deserve to be loved. He looked down, emotion tightening his throat. I never thought I'd hear those words again. You just did, she whispered. That evening, as the sun began to sink into the ocean, Damien called Lily over. Hey, superstar, I need your help with something. Lily grinned. What kind of help? A very important secret mission, he said, lowering his voice. But you have to promise not to tell Mommy. Her eyes sparkled with excitement. I promise. He handed her a small velvet box. When I nod at you, bring this to Mommy, okay? Lily gasped. Is it jewelry? He chuckled. Something like that. Dash dash dash. As twilight painted the sky pink and gold, the three of them walked along the shoreline. Ava carried her sandals in one hand, the other wrapped around Lily's small fingers. Damien walked beside them, the breeze tousling his hair. Mommy, Mr. Damien said he wants to tell you something, Lily said innocently. Ava looked at him curiously. Oh, what's this about? Damien smiled faintly, then nodded at Lily. Lily squealed, opened the little box, and held it up to her mother. Inside was a delicate diamond ring, glinting in the fading sunlight. Ava froze. Damien. He stepped closer, eyes shining with emotion. Ava, a year ago, I was a man with everything, except a reason to live. You and Lily gave me that reason. You reminded me what love feels like, what family means. Her eyes filled with tears as he went down on one knee in the sand. I don't want to spend another day as the man I was, he said softly. I want to be the man who wakes up beside you, who tucks Lily in, who burns pancakes every Sunday morning. Will you marry me, Ava? Lily bounced excitedly beside them. Say yes, Mommy, say yes. Ava laughed through her tears, covering her mouth. You really want to spend forever with us? He smiled. Forever started the moment I told you to get in the car. Ava's heart broke and healed at once. She knelt down and whispered, yes, Damien. 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger, and Lily threw her arms around both of them, giggling. Now we're a real family. The three of them stayed like that for a long moment, the ocean whispering behind them, the wind carrying away the pain of yesterday. Dash dash dash. Weeks later, their small wedding took place in the garden overlooking the sea. Only a handful of people were there. Close friends, a few old colleagues, and the staff who had once seen Damien as a distant, untouchable man. As Ava walked down the aisle in a simple white dress, Lily scattered flower petals ahead of her, her laughter ringing like bells. Damien stood waiting, tears in his eyes. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," Damien pulled her close and whispered, "You didn't just save my life, Ava. You saved my soul, and you saved mine," she whispered back. They kissed as the crowd cheered, and Lily shouted, "Best day ever." Dash dash dash. That night, long after the guests had gone and the stars had filled the sky, Damien and Ava sat by the shore, hand in hand, watching the waves. Do you ever think about how different life could have been? Ava asked softly. He nodded. Every day. But I wouldn't change a single thing. Not the rain, not the fear, not even the pain. Because it all led me here, to you. She rested her head on his shoulder. To us, she corrected. He smiled. To us. The waves rolled in softly, like a lullaby. And for the first time in forever, Damien Hale, the man once known as the silent, untouchable CEO, closed his eyes, at peace. He wasn't just a billionaire anymore. He was a husband, a father, a man who had found the one thing even money couldn't buy, love that saves. And as the moonlight shimmered over the water, Ava whispered the words that had begun it all. Get in the car, huh? Damien chuckled, kissing her forehead. Best order I ever gave. Dash dash dash. Wave the end wave.